J'espère que vous allez très bien aujourd'hui. Aujourd'hui, on va parler du négatif. Le négatif, on va être très négatif aujourd'hui. Alors, les négatifs, ils viennent dans toutes les formes en français et vous les voyez, mais vous ne remarquez pas beaucoup, hein. So they come just like in English, we have several ways of making something negative. It's not just I don't like something. Maybe I never liked it, I don't like it anymore. I only like it on Thursdays, things like that. Okay, so the negative is the same way in French. Um, Obviously, the ne pas, we know how to do this in order to say don't or not in French. Use the ne pas around the verb conjugué, comme par exemple, elle n'aime pas danser. That's an example with a vowel so that we have an apostrophe. And then we have a non-vowel, which is il ne mange pas les légumes. So the ne, it could drop the e off. The most important part of the negative is the pas. Without the pas, it's just nothing. Without the ne and with the pas, it's still the negative. So in French, in daily French speaking, you often do not hear the ne at all. You would hear elle n'aime pas danser, elle aime pas danser. You would hear that. Elle aime pas danser, il mange pas. You don't hear the ne, but you always have to hear the pas to get the negative. And you just remember it goes around the conjugated verb. And the reason I stress the conjugated verb is because in the passé composé, the conjugated verb is always avoir or être. It's not the past participle. So just always remember the conjugated verb. Okay, here are some other negatives that you've probably seen, but maybe didn't connect it. The ne jamais, and you notice the dot 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 indicates just like the ne pas that it's going around the verb. Ne jamais is never, ne rien is nothing, ne plus is no longer, ne aucun, absolutely none. We see a little asterisk over here. So just as an FYI, it can be feminine, it can be aucune. So it goes from aucun to aucune. Ne personne, no one, and ne que is only. Like this is the only chocolate bar I have. Okay? So, notes on the negative. A few of these negatives can be subjects as well. Ne rien, ne personne, ne aucun can work as a subject. So, je n'ai rien dit, I didn't say anything, or I said nothing. Could also be rien n'est impossible. Nothing is impossible. Okay, so in English that would be a noun, but in French it's I guess it's treated the same as a noun. You still have to have the ne in front of the verb. So rien n'est impossible. Ne personne. Je ne vois personne. I don't see anyone. I see no one. Personne n'est à la porte. No one is at the door. Ne aucun. Nous ne trouvons aucune aide. Nous ne trouvons aucune aide. We find absolutely no help. Aucun animal n'est horrible. No animal is horrible. Quite a stretch on that one, but there you go. Aucun animal n'est horrible. Okay? Just as a reminder, the ne does continue to be in front of the verb. In speaking, it's not the end of the world if it's not there, but certainly in writing it is. Okay, some additional things to know. That usually it goes around the conjugated verb, but the ne personne, ne aucun, and ne que will go in front of the noun they're qualifying. So that word qualifying simply means the noun they're associated with, the noun that they're making negative or talking about. So, ne personne, je n'ai parlé avec personne. I didn't speak with anyone. Okay, that's a little different because personne is kind of its own little entity, okay? I didn't speak with anyone. I spoke with no one. Notice that it doesn't go around the je n'ai personne parlé. You don't say that. Je n'ai parlé avec personne. So in this case, that negative is real funky, where you still got the ne, but personne acts like no one. The actual noun, no one. Okay. So it's actually exactly like English. So I spoke with no one. So it's not really a stretch to see how that works. Ne aucun, the aucun, aucune is going to go in front of the noun it's talking about. So il n'a absolument aucune chose à dire. He has absolutely nothing, no thing to say. He has nothing to say. Okay, so you notice the aucune actually goes in front of chose because you're making chose negative. He has absolutely nothing. Has absolutely no thing to say. Okay? Ne que does the same thing. Vous ne m'avez parlé que de vos voyages. All you talked about were your trips, okay? You have only spoken about your trips. So the que is in front of uh, de vos voyages. Vous ne m'avez parlé que de vos voyages. You have spoken only about your trips. I know that these are a little bit, especially the last two, can take some getting used to. But if you really look at the example and think about how it's working, it becomes very clear. We're going to do a little bit of examples at the end. So again, this is just a repeat of what I said. Ne personne works like the word no one. Ne aucun and ne que are just going in front of the noun they're qualifying, or the part of speech that they're qualifying. And we talked about this, but it's something that makes it a little smaller and a little bit more to the point. And so let's look at some practice, excuse me. J'ai toutes les chaussures du magasin. J'ai toutes les chaussures du magasin. I have all of the shoes in the store. Okay? So in this case, the ne aucun is kind of like saying I have absolutely none. And so in this case, you would make it negative by saying I have absolutely no shoes. Okay? Because we have a noun here, we would say I have all the shoes or I have not one of the shoes. Okay? You could also say I have nothing. But in this case, it would make more sense to leave chaussures in there. Il connaît tout le monde à la soirée. How would you make this negative? He knows everyone. And on the flip side of it, you would say what? And I have the answers on the other side, or the next slide, I should say. Nous avons seulement une chose. We have only one thing. Well, how else could you say we have only one thing? Okay, so exactly the same thing, but using a construct that's different. Elles vont chaque été en France. Okay, so they go every summer. How about you? Tu parles à quelqu'un? Are you talking to someone? Vous allez toujours au travail avec votre mère. Do you still go with your mom to work? Elle a quelque chose? Does she have something? Okay, so let's take a look at the next slide. You can always pause me, put your negatives, try and figure those out and come back to it, see if you have the same thing I have. J'ai toutes les chaussures du magasin. J'ai toutes les chaussures du magasin. Je n'ai aucune chaussure. I don't have a one. Il connaît tout le monde à la soirée. Il ne connaît personne. He knows no one. Nous avons seulement une chose. Nous n'avons qu'une chose. We only have one thing. Elles vont chaque été en France. Elles ne vont jamais en France. They never go. Tu parles à quelqu'un? Je ne parle à personne. Or, I answered the question, so I did put the option of just making that negative. Tu ne parles à personne, if you had said that as well. Vous allez toujours au travail avec votre mère? So I answered the question. Je ne vais plus au travail avec ma mère. Do you still go? I no longer go. Vous n'allez plus au travail avec votre mère. You no longer go. Elle a quelque chose? She has something? Elle n'a rien. She has nothing. I know that negatives can be a little bit of a beast at first, and then you get really used to them. So I look forward to getting your questions if you have any. Au revoir.